tacos. That was right. Welcome back to our channel, Convos and Tacos. Marissa here.
Carla.
Gloria. And for today's menu, today's tacos, we decided to go with a surf and turf. So we have some steak tacos and some shrimp tacos.
Steak tacos.
Shrimp tacos. I'm pescatarian for those who don't know. Shrimp tacos. I am a whatever she feels.
You make it, I'll eat it.
You make it, I'll eat it. If it's good, I'll eat it even more.
I don't do seafood, so I'm glad she added that turf part to the surf.
Yep.
So it's kind of a, shout out to the women in the military. I think this saying goes big time with them. She believed she could, so she did. Way back in the day, we all know, women weren't allowed in the workforce, period. Yeah. And then as women started getting into the workforce, it was, sewing and
or even like working
office jobs.
Staying
even
home.
In the office jobs, they were so like sexualized, like they were just so
mistreated. Everything. And so then when women started breaking into, as they call it, the man's job, right? I need two hands for that. Man's job. Mm-hmm. Which obviously a big one is military.
I wouldn't know. She knows everything.
That would.
So if I talk less this video, you know why.
We'll be asking a lot of questions to her because. So for those of you who don't know, you want me to say?
So I was in the Marine Corps. I served for just over 5 years. I did 2 tours, one in Afghanistan and one in don't laugh, Djibouti, Africa. So, which they call it, where it's at is in the Horn of Africa. Yeah, way to laugh. I said don't laugh. But yes, my branch was the Marine Corps. But even though for anybody who's in the service, we joke around and, every service thinks that they're the best. Even though the Marines are, but no, I'm just kidding. We give love to all women in the military and all branches because honestly, it's not just one branch that goes out and fights for our country. It's all branches that fight for our country. So we definitely wanted to give just a special shout out. And, for any of you that are women veterans, if you're watching this, if you want to comment below and just kind of maybe give us a little bit about your experience or, if you have questions or you want to talk, or for maybe any of you that are thinking, like young ones, and you're thinking about joining the service, comment below and I'll love to answer back. I wasn't young.
I can't answer any of
They can. Well, not like for in the service, but as far as like knowing people in the service and being friends.
Yeah.
And
family members.
Honestly, like when I got out and...
or even starting something new that you're kind of like hesitant.
Yeah. So we can see it from all perspectives. So I mean, if you want, we can ask some questions to Carla. Was being in the service as a woman, and then even starting something up where you didn't think you were going to do it.
Well, so I joined late. I wasn't a right out of high school kind of person that went straight to the service. I didn't join until I was 25. So I didn't get out until I was about 31. And so all of that alone was kind of different. I wasn't an 18-year-old joining. I was 25. But my rank was obviously starting out, so I could really only associate with anybody who was around my rank. Mm-hmm. And so that was all these 18, 19-year-old kids, especially boys. And it was so frustrating.
What was the most challenging thing that you think while you were in the service? What is the most challenging thing you experienced?
The most challenging? Ooh, that's a long one. No, honestly, the most challenging would probably be... I kind of want to say it, but it's... I already knew going into the Marine, especially Marine Corps, I knew going into it, like, it's a man's world. So I knew it was going to be tough in that aspect. But I think for me, what I found was just the level of unprofessionalism that happened, and especially with the shop I worked in. But it was later when I first joined the shop that I was in. We call it shops. So I was an avionics technician. So for those of you that are military, you know, I was Air Wing. Yes, I already know what comments are going to happen there. But they're like, huh? What comments? Yeah.
I don't know comments.
Well, there's like a divide between your infantry people and people who are Air Wing. Infantry says, you know, oh, you're Air Wingers. Pretty much we don't work, which we do. But I also love my infantry people because someone has to do it, and I love y'all for that.
Another question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I'm assuming I was in the military, but there was more men than there were women.
Yes. Definitely.
And did you ever feel that because of that, men feel like they were superior?
Yes. Not all.
Even if they weren't in the same ranking, what if they were below you? Would that be different?
Well, different as in they had to follow my orders.
Yeah.
Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Like they didn't like it?
Well, but they definitely didn't like it. And I definitely got like some guys who, you know, gave the, and I'm just like, excuse me? Because I was higher rank, I was an NCO, so, you know, for my PFCs and my Lance Corporals.
So that's cool that you had a higher rank. You know, that's
Well,
showing something. I mean,
but that's when I eventually got it, which I did pick up quick. So I did pick up quick all my ranks.
Well, I mean, for women to get a higher rank.
Yes.
You need to rank it.
But let's talk about that. So, as being a woman, and for anybody who's not in the military, I'll try to explain it a little bit more. But if you're obviously in the military, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So, there's two ways you can pick up rank. You basically time and grade. So, it's like you did everything you were supposed to do, you had the right scores, and the time came to be like, okay, now it's time for you to pick up rank. Mm-hmm. Or there's a thing called meritoriously promoted. Meritoriously is basically you're somebody that your higher ups think is good enough to go against all these other Marines that are competing for that one rank. So you go against them and you have to go in front of a panel of, depending on who's there, like as high as like sergeant majors, master sergeants, like anybody, depending on where it's at. And so I picked up rank quick because I got put on a couple boards. So I picked up Lance Corporal because in my schooling that I did, I was the guide, which means basically I was the person in charge of all the other people my rank. Mm-hmm. And then becoming a corporal and NCO, I got meritoriously promoted. And that was the big one. So out of my shop, I was barely new to my shop, and they put me up for the board because all my scores, everything was really good. Well, guess what happened when I won? First thing that people started saying, guys, oh, who's did you suck to get that? Oh, she did this. Like there was a lot of rumors that started happening. Oh, yeah. She did this, and you know, she did this to this guy. And I was kind of taken back because I'm all, heck no.
So no woman can get to that stand, you know,
unless you did something sexually for someone.
Gosh.
Yeah, and
but that, you know what, that's showing their insecurity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a reflection of their insecurity.
Or their even their work ethic. Oh, like you could. Obviously, she outworked you, and she outbeat you in your grades and all of that. So
I'm like, oh, is that what you do?
I am.
Right? Like, I guess you didn't.
Is that how you get by?
You didn't do it well enough. But no, it's just that's the kind of stuff, you know. And when one of the guys won, it was, I've never heard, oh, what did he do sexually? You know what I mean? It was, you know, they may have hated on him, like, whatever, he's not that good, whatever. But never anything so derogatory towards another man that got the promotion. Yeah. You know, but as soon as females picked up, and I kept hearing it all the time, like when I had a female staff sergeant, what I would hear from all the men, like the lower rank stuff, like, oh, what did she do to get that? Or, oh, she's a beat, or, you know, this or that. And I'm all, she's just tough. So is, you know, this male staff sergeant over here, same. But why does she have to be the B? And it's just, that was the kind of stuff like constantly having to deal with.
Well, despite the negative talk, I like to hear that, like, there are women that are ranking up despite of all, you know, some men just not being able to deal with it or not happy with it. There's still, you know, there's still women still moving up. And
yes.
That's you know, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear. So,
and
there's always going to be people kind of bringing you down.
Always.
Regardless, men, women, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I had some really good ones that I'd like, you know, Staff Sergeant, which I think she's a gunnery sergeant. I don't know. She may even be higher than that. But it was Staff Sergeant Soto when I was in. I think he got ranked up to Gunnery Sergeant Soto. She was awesome. Loved her. Like, she was tough, but she still understood, you know. Yeah. She's still approachable. And then, of course, I have no clue what rank she is now. So this was back, like, over 10 years ago. But her name was Major Greaves. and she was our acting CO when we deployed out to Africa, and then she became our acting CO when the actual CO had to take a leave. And let me tell you, she's one of the most inspirational women like that I have ever met, and especially in the military. She not only was tough, but she knew how to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't talk down to people, but she didn't let people talk down to other people, men or women, and it didn't matter. It wasn't like, oh, you're a woman, so I favor you. She was hard on everyone, but she was so approachable, and she honestly was a reason why I considered staying in, because she was really an inspiration.
That's admiring. It's kind of like she made sure like she respected, but she also showed people how to respect her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a
In a
lot
good,
of people,
in a like positive, in a good, really good.
Yep. And even like guys and girls in our unit, like I think a lot really liked her. You know, they respected her, at least from what I seen. So
Yeah.
that just goes to show, you know. To all my fellow Marines and the different military branches,
From the bottom of our hearts, with deep appreciation, we thank you.
Happy Veterans Day!
Follow us on our social medias.
We love
Instagram,
y'all.
Twitter.
Subscribe.
Hopefully we'll see you
Like.
later.
Bye.
Yummy delicious! Yes! I think I want to...